Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock. It's time for another video and I'm back with a top 10 list. You can always tell when I'm very organized about this stuff. I make lists. I'm back with a top 10 list and this is a list of the 10 best tricks using finger rings of all time. That's right, the 10 best tricks using finger rings of all time. Look, here's the thing. This could use a borrowed finger ring. This could use your own finger ring, but I love magic with finger rings, and there's so many different things that you can do with them. Honestly, when I was researching this topic over the years, there have been dozens and dozens and dozens of routines, way more than I thought, where because I'd forgotten a lot of them, I was like, oh yeah, that's amazing, that's amazing, that's amazing. So what I want to do in this project, or this project, what I want to do on this video is I want to talk to you about what I personally think, and this is only my opinion, but I want to talk about what I personally think are the top 10 best tricks with finger rings of all time. Now, I could do another list on this. So if you do want to see another list with a follow-up of 10 more tricks with finger rings, by all means, let me know in the comments down below. I'd be more than happy to put that together. This was a very difficult list to put together because there's so many awesome tricks out there. But before I start the list, I will tell you one thing. I really encourage you to try, if you don't do anything with finger rings, go out and try it. Go out and get yourself some of these tricks that I'm talking about, learn them and perform them for people. You'll see how much impact they have. Everyone knows what a finger ring is. You borrow someone's finger ring, they're invested emotionally. You do something with your own finger ring, everybody knows it's a normal object. It looks way more normal than a coin or a playing card or something like that. So, without further ado, we're going to go into the top 10 best tricks with finger rings of all time. Here we go. Okay, so in 10th position, I have Spooning Around by Sankey. And look, this has been called many different names over the years. The problem with Jay is when he brings a trick out, it'll be a different name on one project as it will be on another project. So allow me to explain to you what this is. Basically, the idea is that you have a spoon which you can examine, and it can be a borrowed spoon, a dessert spoon that's got a really big bowl. And you take a borrowed ring and you say, hey, I'm going to try and get this onto the spoon, and you demonstrate. But I'm not going to drop it on through the top. I'm going to push it up through the bottom. Watch. And then you just hit the spoon into the ring, and you see, boom, that it goes right on there. And that genuinely is on there. It really is. There's no ambiguity. And then you say, look, I tell you what, you hold on to the end. And they hold on to the end, and I say, I'll hold on to the ring and I'll put it back off through the bowl. And then you do just that, and you give them the ring back, and they're holding on to the spoon. Everything's examinable. You want to know why everything's examinable? Everything is examinable because there are no gimmicks to this trick. It is pure sleight of hand using a spoon and using a borrowed ring, and it is beautiful. It really is. The penetrations look great. Now, when I was working restaurants way back in the day, this used to be my go-to routine. I would do this, and then I'd go into ring on string, and I'd do this first of all, and I'd borrow one of the spoons off the table. But this is also one of my favorite impromptu tricks now. So if I'm ever out with friends and I'm in a restaurant and they go, oh, you do magic, show me a trick, I'll borrow a ring, I'll borrow a spoon, and I'll do it. And I've got no problem doing this in a gig either. This is a really strong trick. Now, Jay's published it many different places, but it's definitely on his old L&L DVD set, and it's in his Vanishing Ink Big Book of Magic. There's so many different places you can learn this, but if you're wanting a really strong, impromptu penetration that looks really good and doesn't have any angle issues, and there's no table required, and the magic happens in the hands of the spectators, you definitely want to look into this. It's by Sankey. Okay, so in 9th position, I've got the ringing gumball machine. Now, if you don't know what the ringing gumball machine is, it is one of my favorite routines to do in a cabaret show. Basically, it's a gumball machine. And when I perform it, people aren't aware there's a gumball machine on stage because I have it covered up with a cloth. But for sure, if you want to actually let people know that it's there, you can. But the whole idea is anytime that you want, you can vanish a ring, you can have the ring vanish, and then you can have it appear inside the gumball machine. You see, you give somebody a coin, they drop it in, they take out a gumball, inside there's another coin, they drop that in. When they pull it out, inside there is a ring, and it's actually their ring, and you've gone nowhere near it, or at least that's what the audience perceive. And there's two elements to it. There's the vanish, and then there's the load into the actual gumball machine. Now, there's lots of different gumball machines that you can buy. The version I've got, I think, is a lumball machine, possibly, but they are beautifully made. They really are. Now, I'll tell you right now, the vanish that I use, despite the fact that I'm not the biggest fan of sans mines at all, the vanish I use is a vanishing ring box. So I'll actually take a vanishing ring box, which, by the way, could have been on the list in its own right, to be perfectly honest, and at one point it was on this list. But if you don't know what the vanishing ring box is, it looks like a ring box, right? And the idea is that you take the ring, you pop the ring into the ring box, you then give them the box to hold on to, or you put the box out the way, and at that point you've stolen it out, and you can control when you steal the ring. It's a really nice way of stealing a ring without actually letting them know that you've stolen the ring. Now, you don't have to use a vanishing ring. You can use a cloth. You know, Any Ring by Richard Sanders is a great way to actually do that. You could just use sleight of hand. There's lots of different ways of vanishing the ring. Prop Dog have a really nice expanded thumb tip that will fit your average size ring. Lots of different ways of actually doing this, but the whole idea of the ring is vanished in some way, and then you come over, and I load it as I pull the cloth off. That's why I've got a cloth on there, so that people don't know what it is. And the whole idea is, I've lost your ring, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to give you something in return. And I take the cloth off, and at that point I've loaded what I need loading into there. So now I'm ready for the finale. If you're looking for a routine that packs quite small for a stage but plays really big, then the ringing gumball machine is a great one to go for. My friends Alex Foden and Nemid Phoenix used to do a two-person show together, and they had the best way of doing this, because they would vanish the ring and make it disappear. One of them would make it disappear, and then they would be all the way over there, and at no point would they go anywhere near the gumball machine, but it would end up in the gumball machine. And the way that they did it was simply genius. And it took advantage of the fact that there were two people, and really good. But either way, the ringing gumball machine, if you're looking for a big finale to your show, this is perfect. Okay, so in 8th position, I'm going to go with Banded by Garrett Thomas. Now, this is not going to be the only time you're going to see Garrett Thomas's name on this list. And a few people have done versions of Banded, but Garrett Thomas's, in my opinion, is the best. Patrick Kuhn has a version which is based on Banded. Mercuring by Jay Sankey was a version that came out around about the same time as Banded. But for me, Banded was the best version of this particular plot. So what is Banded? Well, the idea is that you use your own ring and you put it on your finger, and one by one, you make it penetrate each finger until it gets to the end finger, at which point you give it them back and they examine it. That's exactly what Banded is. It's an incredible penetration. Kayla Morelli did something similar to this with a wrapped up elastic band through Theory 11, but I don't think you can get better than the original Banded by Garrett Thomas. And it is that clean. You can have the ring on, you can have it on display, it can be there as long as you want it to. You take the ring off, you put it on your finger, and you penetrate it through one by one, and finally they can take it off and they can examine it. There's been lots of different variations of this, but for me, Banded is the best. And you can still get it from all good magic dealers. Just be aware that when you buy it, you need to make sure that the size that you buy is slightly bigger than your own finger. Don't make the mistake I made when I first bought it. Okay, so in 7th position, I'm going to be back with another Garrett Thomas name here. The Ring Thing by Garrett Thomas. Now, this is one of the best impromptu tricks with rings of all time. In fact, there's been a lot of projects that involve teaching sleight of hand with rings. There's been a ton of them. I remember being a part of a project with David J that came out through World Magic Shop many, many years ago. And then DeVoe put some stuff out as well. There's been tons of different videos that have come out to do with teaching you sleight of hand with a ring. But forget about all of those. The best sleight of hand that you can learn with a ring is the ring thing by Garrett Thomas. And if you don't know what it is, it's the idea of borrowing a spectator's ring or showing your own ring on the tip of the forefinger, taking it off and throwing it back on there, and it lands back on the finger ring. I think the first person to popularize this was Greg Wilson, but it is obviously Garrett Thomas's trick. Most recently, Ian Bailey brought out through Alakazam key ring, which isn't really a ring trick, it's a key trick. It's not really, it's a key trick and a ring trick. It's a kind of a weird thing. But he had Garrett Thomas on the project teaching his ring thing on there as well. It's amazing. If you're wanting an impromptu trick that you can do anytime, anywhere, this is what you want to buy, or you want to learn how to use this technique, because it's so visual. When I'm doing a big table and I'm doing anything with finger rings, I will always throw this in, because when you do it, people's eyes just pop out their heads. They just don't see it coming. It looks like trick photography. It looks like that ring just vanishes and instantly appears on your finger. It's why it's made the list over and above other things that could have been on the list. It is absolutely fantastic. It's a technique, it's not a trick. You can learn it, as I say, from a few different places, but do yourself a favor and learn Ring Thing by Garrett Thomas. It is that good. Okay, so next up you have the Collusion ring set by Mechanical Industries. So what is the Collusion ring set? Well, the Collusion ring set, you get a few different things, and that's what's really nice about it. So first of all, you get a ring, and then you also get a coin. Now, the coin matches the ring perfectly. So the coin looks like, if it was made into a ring, it would look like the ring. Now, as well as the coin and as well as the ring, you also get a really nice chain that's designed to do ring on chain style effects. And you also get this really weird finale gimmick, which is like a coin and the ring merged together. It's almost like they've been welded together into one and kind of anniversary waltzed together, and that's your finale. Now, the real gold in this is the project that it comes with. It comes with so much material, teaching you so many different things you can do with it. You can literally do a 10-minute act with the props that you get as part of this project. So you could do a ring on string thing. They teach you moves for that. You can do transpositions between the coin and the ring. Absolutely. You can do routines where the ring turns into the coin, turns back into the ring, turns back into the coin. And I know that there's been lots of people that have done that before and since. Probably one of the best is Danny Goldsmith, who did it beautifully, and some of his moves that he uses when he's turning a ring into a coin look amazing. But this particular set has some fantastic moves on it as well. And then what a lot of these routines are missing is a finale, but you've got the finale here of taking the ring, taking the coin in the spectator's hand, fusing it together. They can examine it, and then visibly separating them again. You put the ring back on your finger or your thumb, or wherever you want to keep it, and you're reset, ready to go again. So it's called the Collusion ring set. It's available from all good magic dealers. You can get it in lots of different sizes. It's by the Mechanical Industry team, and it's an incredible, really, really great product. It's just got a ton of different applications. Okay, next you have the Ring on Wand. Now, there's lots of different versions of Ring on Wand. My favourite version I'm going to be putting on the Netrix in the next couple of weeks, but the Ring on Wand premise was first developed and created by Di Vernon back in the day. And the original premise was you took a wand, you had it examined, you either used your own ring or you borrowed a ring, and you have them hold on to the ends of the wand. You can have two people hold one end each. You take the ring and you just do this, and the ring goes right there on the center of the wand while they're holding onto it, and you just step away and the ring is right there on the wand. It's a beautiful moment of magic, it really is. And it's great for strolling, it's great for walk around, it's great for mix and mingle. You don't have to use a ring once you understand the mechanics of this trick. You can use a straw, you can use a Sharpie marker, you can use whatever you want to use. But it's the whole idea is that you're taking this ring and you're doing this impossible penetration onto the wand. Now, a lot of people just do it as a one-phase routine. My routine that's going on the Netrix in the next couple of weeks is a 6-phase routine where each phase builds. So the ring goes onto the wand, then it goes onto the wand again, then it goes onto the wand again, and then there's a kicker ending that nobody ever sees coming. So whether you do it as a multi-phase routine like I do, or you do it as one moment of magic, there's something really strong about this, because people are confident that it's a normal ring and people are confident it's a normal wand. When you take that ring and you just put it right there on that wand, nobody ever sees it coming. And it's one of those tricks that packs small plays big. You could do it on a banquet table, you could do it in a parlor show, but it's designed to be done walk around because there's no angle issues, there's no table, and you're left. What I love about this is when you do that penetration, you just step back and they've got everything and it's all completely examinable, because there's no gimmicks to it either, which is great. So it's called the Ring on Wand. Look out for the version on the Netrix, or you can check out the Di Vernon original. I think he originally put it in the Stars of Magic. Okay, so next up we are going to be looking at linking finger rings. And hey, linking finger rings has been around since time began. I remember the first time I saw somebody do the linking finger rings. I'd heard about the routine before, but I'd never actually seen it. And then I was watching Paul Daniels' Secret Show, which was the show that he did after the Paul Daniels show ended on BBC. He did the Secret Show, which in my opinion was a better show. But it didn't run anywhere near as long. But on stage, he actually did the linking finger rings, a beautiful moment of magic. The idea is that you have 3 people lend you rings, and then you take these 3 rings and you link them together. 3 borrowed rings linked together, normally on a pencil, which means that you can display it to the audience like this so they can see that they really are linked. And then one at a time, they unlink. Now, the 2 best versions of this that I've seen, the first is by Scott Alexander. Scott's got an incredible version of the linking finger rings that he published and sold through Bob Kohler Magic before he passed away. The second version, which you can still get from all good magic dealers, is David Regal's version of the linking finger rings. Now, David's version is great because he's got this moment where you actually see the rings separate one at a time. And he's got some really nice subtleties and some really nice touches that really convince people that those rings really are linked together. Now, if you've never seen the linking finger rings before, I will tell you that there's never really been a version that can be done close up without using a stooge. Realistically, it needs to be a routine that you do on stage in order for it to work effectively. And all the versions that I've spoken to you about up until this point are all versions that work on stage. But if you're a close-up performer, this is not really a trick that you couldn't walk up to a group of 3 people and say, hey, all 3 of you lend me a ring, I'm going to link them together. It wouldn't work like that. It's more of a piece for a stage performer, a parlor performer, a platform performer. But if you are in an environment in which you're performing and you want to walk out on stage with seemingly nothing in your pockets, and you're going to do an absolute miracle with borrowed objects, then this is absolutely a routine that you want to look into. Okay, so we're down to the top 3 now, and in 3rd place we have Opus by Garrett Thomas. That's right, this is the 3rd time that Garrett's appeared on this list. And Opus, I considered whether to put this on the list or not, but I thought it's so good I can't not. Opus is basically a little bit like the Collusion ring set that I talked about earlier on, in that Garrett has a huge, massive download where he's going to teach you how to do the routine where you take a ring, you take a coin, and you you take a ring, and it turns into a coin, then turns back into a ring, turns back into a coin. It's a classic routine at this point. As I say, Danny Goldsmith have done a lot with it. The mechanical industry guys have done a lot with it. Opus was Garrett Thomas's sort of project on this plot. And now you got with it a custom-made ring and a custom-made coin that looks like they're identical. So it looks like the ring and the coin. It looks like I say, it looks like the coin has been made into a ring, which means there's no discrepancy when you're doing the various moves. But what is the real gold, again, just like the Collusion ring set, the real gold here is Garrett's thoughts and thought process behind this plot. To say that no stone is left unturned is an absolute understatement. He goes through everything with a fine-tooth comb. It is a long project. Like, we're talking Craig Petty levels of content here. But everything... Look, Garrett is an amazing magician. He's one of my favourite magicians of all time. I love him to bits. It's why he's appeared so many times on this list, because really I think that he's had more impact on fingering magic than any magician in the last 100 years. This project is a culmination of his work, not just with finger rings turning into coins, but with finger rings in general. And if you're wanting an amazing project where you can learn from an absolute master who is at the top of his game, then this is a project that you want to get hold of. It's an actual bonus that the props that this thing comes with are really nice. It's a ring that you'd be proud to wear. And once you've got this down, you put the ring on your finger, you put a coin in your pocket, and you're good to go. And you can structure it in so many different ways, depending on your performing style. So we're down for second place. In second place, we have Ring Flight Revolution by Dave Bonsall and Prop Dog. So what is Ring Flight Revolution? Well, Ring Flight Revolution is the trick that revolutionized the ring flight prop. So what is ring flight? Ring flight is the idea of borrowing a ring, making it vanish, and making it appear on your key fob in your pockets. Now, I remember when I first got into magic, I was a red coat at Butlins, and I used to go down to this magic shop every week or every day, and I used to go and spend money. And I remember picking up a ring flight from them back in the day, and this was a very old ring flight. It was way before Dave released his, and I performed with it for a while. And then I got nervous performing with it because it was very clunky. The reel would break consistently. It shuddered around an awful lot. It just wasn't very well made. And I remember thinking to myself, well, it's a shame, but I have to have a prop that I can rely on. And so I retired it. And it was only when I saw the Ring Flight Revolution that I realized that there was a better product out there that is 100% reliable and safe. So first of all, it doesn't look like a little wallet. So it looks very modern. It looks like you've just got some keys in your pocket, but the reel is built into it. You can have it custom designed by Dave and have it in as many different designs as you want to. It's locking, so once you've took the thing out of your pocket, you can literally have them take it off themselves. And if you've not ever performed a ring flight routine, you really need to. There's a reason why so many pros perform with ring flight, and the reason is very simple. It always gets a great reaction. Like, I'm talking always gets a great reaction. When you borrow a ring and you just hold it in your hand and it vanishes, and then with no moves, you reach into your pocket and you take the keys out, and hanging on the keys is the ring that they're thinking of. Forget about it. I mean, we're done at that point. There's nothing else that you can do that is as strong as that moment that you've just demonstrated to them right there. So it's called Ring Flight Revolution. It's by Dave Bonsall. It is absolutely the best ring flight on the market, and it's second place in the best finger ring tricks of all time. And number one, what could possibly beat Ring Flight Revolution? Well, in number one, we have Ringleader by Greg Wilson. Now, what is Ringleader? Well, Ringleader, in essence, is something that came out many, many years ago. Penguin now have the rights to it. And it is basically the ultimate project on magic using a ring and a string. Now, I've got my own version of this on the Net Tricks. I teach my version on the Net Tricks of the ring and string routine, and lots of different people have got versions of it. Like Mark Leverage has got an award-winning, amazing version of the ring and string. There's millions of different people. I remember Friedman learning a version of his. Dan Tong, I'm pretty sure I learned a version of his from years and years and years gone by. But Greg Wilson put it together many, many years ago, the ultimate version of ring and string. And the reason it's the ultimate version is, first of all, it came with a beautiful velvet cord, which made the moves a hell of a lot easier. But secondly, as well as the velvet cord, it came with a plethora of moves. He did what I did with Chop, and I based the way that I actually did the tutorial for Chop off ringleader, which is basically show you a routine, but then teach you an absolute metric ton of other moves that you can use so that you can adapt your own routine and your own tricks. And that's what is so good about it. Now, if you don't know what ring and string is, the idea is that you show a string, you show a ring, the ring goes onto the string and it comes off again and again and again, and normally ends up in an impossible location, wherever that may be. And basically, Greg Wilson has put together an incredible amount of different ways of actually having that ring go on and come off that string. Now, when you buy it from Penguin these days, you're not going to get a really nice cord. But if you still want a really nice cord, you can do it from one of two places. David Penn and World Magic Shop sell an incredible cord. It's very, very good quality, made out of velvet. And the other person who does the same is John Allen. And John Allen's Magic Shop carries these ring and string cords that are great, and again, they're made out of velvet. I'll be honest, I probably prefer John's to David Penn's, but David Penn's are really good as well. Either way, I mean, look at the names that I'm talking about here. David Penn, Greg Wilson, John Allen. These are all pros, and they swear by the ring and string routine. I think it tells you everything that you need to know. If you want to learn a ring and string routine, yeah, you can learn mine off the Net Tricks, and mine is really good, and I'll go through stuff. But if you want to look at something else that's got even more moves and ideas and principles and just a metric ton of information on the plot, then get yourself Ringleader by Greg Wilson, and it's available directly from Penguin Magic. So there you go, guys. That's another video in the bag. Do me a favor, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now, you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite ring and string routine is. Did I mention it on this list? If not, I'm very sorry. Do you want to see a follow-up list? If you do, let me know down below in the comments. Either way, I'm going to be back again very, very soon with another video. But thank you once again for watching. My name's Craig from Magic TV.